Hello and welcome to Cultural Diversity. I'm Dr. Yolanda Young Simmons. I'll be your facilitator today. And today our question will be, how do we apply diversity in our community and in the environment that we currently live in? Our topic today is part of our staff development series. And why do we have staff development training? To adhere to contract compliance or funders compliance or the community, to work better with people, to prepare for a higher area of responsibility, to improve our knowledge, skills in any industry, and to understand people better. This particular one will help us to understand people better and to improve our knowledge of company policy, procedures, goals. Those are the things that makes us better and and have a better workplace environment. Plus, if we understand people better, have staff development training, we'll have a better workplace environment. That's very important. And as we discuss this type of training, it's important to understand that it improves customer service. Our staff will be more effective in the services they provide to others. It's motivational. It helps productivity and to serve people better. That's our ultimate goal. A culture of diversity. What is DEI? That's part of cultural diversity. The D in diversity. Diversity has many forms of self-identity. It's related to our age, our class, our promotion, our position in society, or our pronoun. Cultural diversity is a variety of cultural ethnic groups in our society, but we appreciate all the different groups and the skills and talents that it brings. That's the D in DEI. E is equity. Equity means that your identity is not compromised to get an outcome. And you have equity involved in the project or program that we're doing. Inclusion is having a real experience, being authentically yourself and being accepting you're included and belong in the process because of who you are. And that's what DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion, and that we can have a better community, a work environment, and all that we do. But we have a dilemma in our ever changing workplace. We do. We need to understand how to communicate with one another better. We have a gap in understanding each other because there's so many generations working in the workforce today. And today I would say four are still actively working in the workforce, but we're going to discuss five of them: traditionalists. We're going to discuss baby boomers, Generation X, the millenniums or Generation Y, and then the Gen Z. We're going to have an overview of all of these so that we can understand the importance of how we communicate and become productive in our society. We're going to start with our traditionalists. Our traditionalist is usually born between 1928 and 1945. If you notice, our traditionalists, they have values of discipline. They have respect for authority. They have a very formal um, communication style, face to face. They prefer writing notes. They prefer pen to paper. And look, there's a typewriter there. So our traditionalists, who may not be in the workforce, very few are still in the workforce, but they believe in the formality and the hierarchy. They believe in respect for a person. The best way to communicate with a traditionalist is with titles, Mr., Mrs., any type of respect that you would give to their experience and their authority. But our traditionalists also like to have a good card game, maybe spades or whatever the card game they play. They enjoy that. And so it keeps them balanced, but they really have a sense for hierarchy and hard work. The baby boomers, that's our next one. The baby boomers are born from 1946 to 1964. Some of the research shows different age groups as I give this presentation, so don't be locked into the ending age, but they created much more than we really in the generation. They boomed. That's why they were called baby boomers. A lot of babies were born. They believe they can do anything if they work hard. They're definitely rooted. And remember now, their parents were the traditionalists. So they're rooted in the experiences that the traditionalist has as a result. They put in hard work and sacrifice. They sacrifice on personal needs to achieve their career goals because maybe the traditionalists didn't have as much as they had. They expect our managers to have mutual respect for authority the way they have. They value hard work, face to face. They like phone calls. They may still have an AOL or a Earthlink account if you remember those from times back, but they value in-person meetings and the telephone. But you also, in communicating with a baby boomer, you have to acknowledge their experience and the contributions that they made because they've made a big contribution. Some of our most popular famous baby boomers would be Bill Gates, Michael Jackson, Oprah Winfrey, Vivica A. Fox, Bill Clinton, Barack Obama, and Donald Trump. Those are our baby boomers. That's the years that they were born. So they've had the experience and they made contribution to society that you cannot overlook. So you have to understand to best communicate with a baby boomer is through the hard work that they've already applied. Then we have our Generation X. And they were born between 1965 and 1980. Their values are more independence and they like a more relaxed environment. They're relaxed, but they're resourceful and they're independent. With a Generation X, if you want to communicate well with them, make sure that you do not micromanage a Generation X because they believe in that independence. And that's a Generation X. Now we have our millenniums. They're in the workplace. That's Generation Y. They were born between 1981, 1996, or 97. That's the me generation. They had a Times Magazine article. I had to put it up there because that's a me generation. But they're the digital age, social media, internet. They value work life experience. They value relaxing and they prefer text messaging, social media. And the best way to communicate with a millennium or Generation Y is to have open communication and make sure that they are included in social media, digital age. That's our Generation Y. Now we have our Generation Z. They were born 1997 to 2012. And their characteristics of communication, they grew up with electronic devices and they have less reading of books. And if they read books, they're going to read it online because they enjoy their electronic devices. They have games. A lot of them, they may be underemployed, but they're innovative. They're technology. They're connected. They have gadgets. And so let's talk a little about our Generation Z. Uh, they had the entrepreneur spirit. And you have to understand if a baby boomer is talking to a Generation Z, understand that they have an entrepreneur spirit. They're ready to go out and conquer the world. But maybe the baby boomers are saying work hard, get a job. But the entrepreneur spirit is telling the Generation Z, I can do this. They believe in texting, instant messaging. And when you're talking to them, talk quick because they only want the bullet points. And they even lighten the mood. They're more relaxed. They'll send a GIF. They'll send a happy face. They'll send emoji, a thumbs up instead of writing. They need modern technology. They like flexibility. They want to be online. They embrace change. They believe in team projects. So if you do have Generation Z and you want to include them, they would be a good team member on our Generation Z. They promote inclusion. They have a short attention span and they need short messages. Don't spend a lot of time. They may not read it if you write too much. If you send an email, they may not even get it. You have to text them to tell them you sent them an email. So that's our generation. So all of these generations are included in working. So with the Generation Z, they may close their laptop at 5 p.m. Is that an issue for a baby boomer? Maybe it is. But you need to understand you're talking to a Generation Z, and it shouldn't be a problem. They may have work poor work attendance because they believe in the flexibility of a work and life balance, and they're going to balance it. But one thing about it, they may want to be the boss because they have that entrepreneur spirit. And that's our Generation Z, still in the workplace. But as I asked the question, how can we apply diversity in our environment? Our task must be to free ourselves by widening our circle of compassion to embrace all. That's what Einstein's big idea is. We have to embrace all. I talk about how if I'm making a soup, a vegetable soup, I put all the different vegetables in. And when I see the yellow, the orange, from the carrots and the green from the broccoli or whatever. And when you put all those in and you see the beautiful vibrant colors, and then when you taste it, it tastes so good because the blend is all together. And we need everybody. So we have to respect others in the best that we can. Respect them in what they do, respect them in their role, respect them in their generation that they're born in. Let's show love and compassion one for another. Let's not show hatred or disdain because of who they are and what they represent. We have to accept them. And we ourselves, instead of looking at them, let's look at ourselves. Let's always do our best. Let's always do our best to be a team player and to understand why they do what they do. Let's be impeccable with your word and your ability to do your job on the job. Be impeccable with it. If you say you're going to finish a project, finish a project. If you cannot finish a project because you've lost focus and vision, then get some support. Communicate to somebody else that I can't finish that project if it's on the job, and be transparent to why you can't communicate. If you can communicate, if you communicate with respect and with love and compassion, and because you did your best and you couldn't do the job, it will be accepted. Don't make assumptions. Don't make the assumption that a person feels a certain way because you feel a certain way or you act a certain way. But always keep it professional. Don't make it about personality or a particular role a person is holding. Value each other based on the skills they bring to the workplace. That's very important. When you value each other and respect each other, then you can get the job done. Diverse, as we said, DEI, diverse means we need your skills. We want you to be part of the making of this company or this project. Equity, we will partner with you. We partner with you because we value you. We value your inclusion. Be you. We accept you just the way you are because we need everybody to be accepted just the way they are. I told you about some famous baby boomers. I like to tell you about some famous Gen X's: Jay-Z, Janet Jackson, Halle Berry, Brooke Shields, Tupac Shakur. Famous Gen X's. Some famous millennium or Generation Y would be Beyonce, Taylor Swift, Mark Zuckerberg. He created Facebook. Kendrick Lamar and Rihanna. Those are some of our famous millenniums. So I'm telling you that if we have DEI, diverse, equity, and inclusion, we have the best product. And each one of these, each of whether it's the baby boomers, the millennials, the GXs, the Gen Y, and or Gen Z, we all work together to create a wonderful project, a wonderful society, working together and not looking down on someone else because of who they are, but understand that we're closing the gap on communication. When we close the gap by understanding the person, who they are and what they bring to the table, we can value their gifting. And that's what's important, that we value them. I'd like to thank you for joining in at this time. I thank you. You've completed our cultural diversity. My name is Dr. Yolanda Young Simmons, and I am available by email if you want more training. We provide staff training on various subjects that range from cultural diversity to housing first, sexual harassment, workplace violence. We have several topics related to our society and what we need to do. We also have spiritual topics that we talk about how you can grow in the things of God. So we have that available also. We have a biblical, we have 12-step programs. Anything you want training on, one of our teachers are available to provide that. You can email us at fnotraining@gmail.com. I thank you so much for being inclusive. Have a great and wonderful day. My name is Dr. Simmons.